Hello there, Libras. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. I do want to apologize. I literally decided on the 30th of June that I wanted to go into monthlies instead of the little 2 and 3 minute weeklies. And I wanted to go really in depth. And so these take a little bit of time to make. So since I made that decision at the last minute, I am kind of behind the curveball. My apologies go out to you on this, but I didn't want to wait to make that change until next month. So this is what we're doing. Hopefully I will be on schedule no later than September. Hopefully actually August. We'll see what happens there. But to be realistic, no later than September, I'd like to have these out ahead of the beginning of the month. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Real life has a way of being a big player on these things. But right now, let's just put down your cards. If you guys are not interested in watching your cards being put down, that's fine. Some people are, and that's why I leave this as a part of the recording. But if you're not, feel free to just go ahead and scroll right past this section. Okay, so what are we looking at? Okay, so Libras, July 9th through the 18th. What we're looking at here is your environment. Now, environment can be anywhere where you have energy or time invested, and so for most people, this always shows up as home, but sometimes it shows up as work or school. So I think work or school would be pretty rare in the times that we're living in right now, but hey, just want to make it clear that this can be anywhere where you have time or energy invested. So looking at your environment, it looks like you have some ideas about things that could be done to improve your environment. And I think maybe, you know what, I'm going to take that back. I don't think you have ideas about things that could be done to improve your environment, but I think somebody does. And somebody's communicating those ideas to you. However, you don't feel like those are actually improvements, and you certainly don't feel like you have the energy or the want to make those so-called improvements in your environment. You're just not feeling it. All right, next thing that I'm looking at for you, Libras, has to do with your subconscious leanings. And subconscious leanings are those things that are rolling around in the back of our heads most of the time, and every once in a while come forward, but it's things that we are thinking about quite often. So with subconscious leanings, it does look like there is somebody that you considered a friend or a colleague, somebody that you trusted at least to a certain degree, that you have a lot of confusion about right now, about whether they're shooting things to you straight or whether they are creating illusions and deception. And your subconscious is really trying to work that out as to, you know, is this person really being a true friend to me? Or is this person, I don't know, is this person gaslighting me? Is this person coming up with things and telling me things that just aren't really the way they are? Your subconscious is really just trying to sort this out. I don't feel like you are confronting this person, at least not so far. That might come up later in the spread. But for right now, this is just what your subconscious is working on, trying to sort through and find the truth around this situation. All right. Next, Libras, what we're looking at is your learning style and your communication style as you go through this time frame. I really think as you're looking at learning style, there's a lot that you're missing, really. There's a lot that's going over your head. There's a lot that you're not really paying attention to, that where you could be picking up information that you're just not. And I feel like the reason you're not is you're not willing to see those things that are right in front of you. And the things that you are learning are such tiny details, and it seems like there's so many tiny little details that it's hard for you to get the big picture. And that's part of why some things are going over your head, because that big picture is just going over your head. You've got a little detail here and a bunch more little details over here and a bunch more over here. It's like, it comes across to me like your learning style, at least from the 9th through the 18th, is like you've got all this information around you and you're trying to put together a puzzle, but not all the pieces are pissing. Not all the pieces are pissing. I don't even know how that came out. Some of the pieces are missing. And so with some of that information missing, it's hard for you to see the big picture, to put the whole thing together and figure it all out. You know, and part of the reason that some of the pieces are missing is because somebody is just not talking to you about what's going on. They're just refusing to communicate to you about this, whatever this is that you're trying to find out information about. Now, looking at your communication style, I think you've kind of given up on communicating. I don't think you're telling somebody that you're trying to put all the pieces together. I think you've kind of given up on communicating with someone here. I do think there is somebody that you're talking to, just not this friend that you're not sure are they being straight with you or not. There is somebody that you're talking to and that you are sharing with. But I don't think that talking to them or sharing with them is really bringing you any clarity. I don't think that this person actually knows the person that you're trying to really figure out what's up with. All right. Let's look next at work. For those of you who haven't had a private reading with me before, I see work in a weird way. So I see work as that thing that you do to bring in the money, honey. I also see it as what you do to make yourself feel helpful to the community if you're not working for money. And then the other way that I see work is what you're doing, what we're doing to improve our own selves for our own personal satisfaction. Okay? So we're going to look at outer work, what you're doing in the community or to bring home the money, and we're also going to look at inner work as well. So we'll start with outer work first. It looks to me like there's some kind of job that you have managed to complete. And I think that you've completed it really a lot. I think you've put in the majority of the energy or effort on completing this task, project, job, whatever it is. I think originally it was something that you were supposed to be collaborating with someone else or a group of somebody else's on, but that just didn't work out. And so you have sort of stepped in and independently taken care of this. And you have satisfied whatever the requirements are to be paid on this. So if you're an independent contractor, that would make sense. And if you're working for another company or for a company, then that would be, you know, you're getting paid. You're the one who's done most of the work on this particular project though. Okay. So that's outer work. Let's look at inner work. Your inner work is really learning about, how you can take care of your finances, how you can do this without necessarily counting on other people. I think you're really looking at what can you do as an individual to increase your finances and to increase your security as far as materially. Now, you know, inner work for me, that's very spiritual, you know. And so I know that there are a lot of people that think money has nothing to do with spiritual stuff. Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Money is just another form of energy, just like any other form of energy. And figuring out how to make that energy flow is just as important as it is to figure out how to make love flow, how to make enthusiasm flow, how to make empathy and intuitiveness flow. And so your inner work here really is about how you can, independently of others, master creating your own stability and increasing your own income. All right, so that's that. Next, let's look at that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now. Libras, it looks to me like your family or tribe is expanding. You may even have a new child coming into the tribe. I feel like there's definitely something precious that is coming into your life. You may be the Oma or the Opa, the grandma or the grandpa. You may be the parent, one of the parents. But I feel like you are, this more feels like an elder role, like you're taking the role of an elder, somebody who teaches and passes along wisdom to a little one. I feel like you're more of not so much a parent, but an uncle or a grandma or a grandpa. Somebody like that. And so you're welcoming somebody new into the family. And I think that you are really helping with some of the responsibilities of bringing this new person into the family. You may be doing a lot of babysitting. Now, for others of you, this might not be that somebody new is coming into the family. It could be that somebody is going through a rite of passage as they're turning older. I grew up Catholic. We had a rite of passage as we were turning older that was called confirmation. It was a religious ceremony, actually. I know that there's something like I don't know if I'm going to say this word right, a quinceanera that some cultures have. I'm probably not saying it right. I'm probably butchering the heck out of it. My apologies. There's bar mitzvah. Other cultures have bar mitzvah. So this could be that somebody is going through one of these types of ceremonies where they are transitioning from child to adulthood. And you are advising the young one, or maybe even presenting the young one. Okay. And it looks like you're doing this with somebody else. I don't think you're doing this by yourself. I think there's somebody else that also is playing a counterpart role. So if you're the female advisor or the female presenter, then there's also a male advisor or a male presenter in this situation. You could be one of the grandparents to somebody, or I mean one of the godparents to somebody who's being baptized. Yeah. This is about welcoming somebody into the family or into the tribe, or it's about helping them as they're making a transition in life. This could even be that you have a child or a grandchild that's getting married and you're giving advice as they're being married, where you're presenting them for the marriage, for the wedding. I like it. That's cool, Libras. Alrighty. La da da da. Next up, let's look at those things that you stand for. So Libra, it looks like you're paying off something, and I can't guarantee it from these cards, but I think you're paying off something that is either a symbol of love, so this could be like paying off an engagement ring or something along those lines, or this is you paying off something because you love somebody, so you could be paying off something for somebody else to kind of keep the bill collectors at bay. You want to make sure that there's nobody, trying to hunt them down over whatever this is that you've paid off. And so you're doing this more or less as an act of protectiveness and looking out for them. So there's somebody that you're paying something off for, and I think that this is a gift. It may even be a wedding gift. Maybe you're paying off somebody's college loan as a wedding gift, or I don't know, paying off their car as a wedding gift or something. There's something that I think you're paying off for somebody else, and I think you're paying it off as an act of love. I do think that it is a gift. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that you want to do. Alrighty. How other people perceive you. La, da, 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 da. La da da da. What on earth? Hmm. So when we were talking about you paying off something for somebody else, that was coming up in the position of something that you stand for, which means somebody was coming at you and saying, why did you do that? That doesn't make any sense. La, 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 la. You could have done da, 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 da with your money. Well, now what we're looking at is how this person perceives you that came at you and said, well, why did you do that? Okay? And they see you as somebody who is not working with them, and that you're dissatisfied with them, and that you're not going to be doing anything to help them. They feel like whatever you did, whatever you paid off for this other person, like that took food off of their table, or that took, that took something out of their cupboard or out of their garage. They feel like that took money from them. They were anticipating that you were going to be helping them, but instead you helped somebody else. So now they view like that you can't help them now. And there's some resentment here. They feel like, you're not working together with them by choosing to do that. There's definitely some resentment there. All right, so let's look next at the pivotal point in this time frame. Okay. This is the point where things start to go in a different direction for the time frame. Pivotal point has to do with a celebration or something that you're finding a lot of happiness in. And whatever this is that you're celebrating, I think that there was disappointment or hurt feelings there before, and I think that you've managed to forgive and let those go, and I think that you're just really enjoying being around this person again now that you've let those old things go, and you're continuing forward with whatever that relationship was that you had before the hurt feelings came into play. So that's what's transforming. That's where the week starts to change direction. Well, not the week, the time frame. So as that is going on, as you are forgiving somebody or letting something go and finding your happiness and moving forward in that relationship in a positive direction again, I think that you guys are actually doing some things together. You're enjoying some type of activities together that you both really like. I'm just looking at this last card here, trying to figure out how does this play in. I think that you really enjoy spending the time with this person and enjoying the activities that you're doing, but at the same time, I think you're a little bored. I think you're very creative, Libra, and you're highly intelligent, and I think that whatever this is you're doing, it's not really capturing your attention. It's not capturing your intellect. And so it's enjoyable. You like that you guys are together, but you could think of some things that might be more interesting to do. You might not be truly interested in seeing who can flip a bottle cap the furthest down the gravel road. All right, next thing that we're looking at is also something that's going on as you are finding this happiness and moving forward in that relationship where you've forgiven something or let something go. For some of you, this is about a romantic relationship, although obviously not for all of you. But for some of you, it is. For some of you, this is going to be about a business relationship, and so I'm going to kind of explain like both scenarios, how that would come across here. So at the same time that you've forgiven or letting something go, and you're moving forward with this person, and you're being happy, and you're enjoying happy time together, although you're a little bit bored, you are still feeling hopeful about this situation. Problem is that this other person is always chasing the new or the shiny, the next more exciting thing. And once something is in a routine or is regular or is what they're used to, then it doesn't hold their attention anymore either. So where you're bored, this other person is a little bit bored too. Okay? So if this is romantically, this other person is ready to go out and meet somebody new and spend some time with somebody new romantically. If this is a business thing, this is somebody that's interested in doing another business idea or pursuing another business partnership than the one that you guys have got going. And it's a problem because for you to continue forward with whatever this is, whether it's romantic or business or whatever, this person has to be fully engaged. And they're not fully engaged because whatever this is now old hat to them, and they need something new and inspiring to keep them interested and keep them going. And so they're disengaging. And I think that this is bringing you some real heartache. And it's so crazy how fast this happens. Virgo had something, not exactly the same scenario, but they did have a similar situation where things started to go really good and almost instantaneously they came crashing down. This is kind of the same thing. Like you let go of the old negative feelings towards this person, you let them back in, and then the next thing you know, you realize that they're not valuing the idea that you let them back in at all. Like they're tromping all over you almost instantaneously, almost as fast as you let them back in, they're tromping all over you. I don't like this. That's not fun energy. Let's see what's going on at the end of the week for you, Libras. Okay, so Libras, at the end of the week, we see you going back to an old situation that made you feel depleted and not replenished at all. A situation where you already know it didn't work before and you have bad memories there, but there's chemistry, there is some kind of draw. In spite of logically knowing that this does not work out for you, there is some kind of draw or some kind of excitement towards that person or towards that situation, whether it's a business situation, a person, whatever. And so you're going back to that situation even though a part of you knows this is an exercise in fruitlessness. It's only going to go so far and then you're going to be frustrated and walking away from it again. But I do see you going back to this. It's almost like this is sort of a rebound energy from what we just saw happening where you let somebody in and then they trampled all over you. Well, now you're going back to something that was from before that, kind of as a comfort thing. Or as a, well, at least I had this with this person, or at least I had this with this business opportunity. You know it's not going to work, but it's a consolation prize for what you just went through, basically, that you're affording yourself. You don't have to do that. When you see a reading like this, the beauty of it is that free will can change anything. So if you see an outcome that you don't like, you can make some different decisions. Now you've got a heads up what direction things are going, and you can head them off before they actually get there. That's the whole point of getting a reading ahead of time, so that you can do something different with it. Okay? So anyway, that is your first time period. I'm going to go ahead and take a little break and come back later, and we'll talk about the next time period in July. Okay, Libras, we are back. And this time we're going to be looking at the time frame of the 19th through the 25th of July for you, and see what we have showing up in the cards. Okay, Libras, first thing that we're looking at talks to me about your environment. And your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. It looks like you're not feeling very enthused about your environment during this week. There's a lot about it that actually makes you happy, but there's something going on, and I feel like there's some kind of maintenance issue going on in your environment that was an issue before that you thought you had taken care of, and now it's coming back, and so it needs to be repaired again. All right. Next thing that we're going to look at has to do with your subconscious leanings. And what we're looking at here is you are really working on your own self-esteem, your own self-confidence, your strength as you present yourself to the world in being confident, in not letting people roll right over you. And it looks like you're being kind of hard on yourself because you haven't been able to pull that off lately. It looks to me like you're doing a lot of people where you're just trying to make everybody around you happy, but it's coming at the cost of your own self-confidence and self-esteem because you're not getting to do the things that make you happy because you're choosing to please other people instead. And then you're beating yourself up for not doing what it takes to take care of you and to nourish you and to make you happy. So subconscious leanings are basically trying to work out some kind of balance between keeping other people happy, keeping things running smoothly in your relationships around you, and also keeping your own self-esteem and your own self-confidence intact as well. All right, so the next thing that we're looking at here has to do with learning style and also communication style. So we're going to look first at learning style. It looks like you have a very agile mind. You're able to pick up things super quickly, Libras, which doesn't surprise me at all with you being an air sign. Information is really easy for you to understand and assimilate. The interesting thing that I have showing up here, though, is that a lot of the things that you're learning right now, you're either picking them up in a spiritual way or they have to do spirituality or spirit and how it influences us. Yeah, how it influences us. Well, hello. Hi there. Are you going to help us with the reading? Come on, you don't get to walk around on the cards. You got to get down, baby. There you go. All right, so where were we? So you're learning things either spiritually or about spiritual things, spiritual topics. Now, as far as your communication style, what do we have going on? It looks to me like there are situations around you that are quite dramatic, and you just really want them to be more peaceful. And I think you may even be doing some meditation about what are some solutions to those situations so that they can become more peaceful. You're sort of working your calming magic on these situations as you're communicating. But I do think that you are, even before you're communicating with people, you're taking the time to think about, okay, what do I want to say and how do I want to say this? All right. Next thing we have coming up has to do with work. And so what are we looking at here? We're going to look at outer work and inner work. I kind of explained the difference of those last time around that we looked at this in the first time frame that we looked at in your video. So I'm not going to go through that whole explanation again, but I do think that the work that you're doing right now is very creative. It is taking you, I think whatever it is that you're doing, you're really having to think about how to do it in a way that fits each person that you're serving the best. So it feels like there's a lot of customization to the work that you're doing. I'm not really feeling like you're an assembly line worker just putting everything together all exactly the same way all the time. There is some kind of creativity involved here. Also, there's somebody who you are working with who is also very creative, somebody who thinks outside of the box. And this person may be inspiring you. You guys, though, are coming across as really working quite well together and being able to work quite well together. I don't think that what's going on here is evenly balanced. I think that there is a disparity in who gets paid how much for what. I don't think that the pay is actually in alignment with who does most work. So normally, like you would hope, whoever's putting in the most energy and effort would get the most pay. I don't think it's that way. I think it's kind of backwards here. Whoever's putting in less energy is actually getting the most pay out of this situation. However, you are definitely getting to use your creative juices, and I think that you really enjoy the work. I think the pay is a little bit of a thorn in your side, but I don't feel like you're being very vocal about that right now. You're aware of it, but I don't think you're expressing just yet. I think you're waiting. I feel like you're waiting until you feel like you have proved yourself more with this other person that you're working with before you approach them about, you know what, do you think that maybe I might deserve some more money? Only I think you're going to say it in a much more assertive way than that by the time you get around to it. Right, now the next thing that we're looking at talks to me about that part of your personality, which is being grown or expanded right now. Wow. Okay. I think where you're growing or expanding is you're doing a lot more independent type of work, where before you used to collaborate with other people on the work that you were doing. And this is different than the work I was seeing. This is more in everyday life type of things. So where before maybe you collaborated with a roommate or maybe you collaborated with a family member. I don't see so much collaboration going on. As a matter of fact, I feel like somebody that you normally would have collaborated with has the spirit's saying they've gone emotionally off the deep end. And I don't feel like they're seeing things in a sane or rational way. And I think that that's really making any kind of collaboration with them next to impossible. And so what you're doing is you're just picking up the pieces and you're still continuing on with whatever collaborations you guys used to do. You're doing those things, but I think you're doing them more independently. I think you're doing them on your own. And I think that what's happening is you're realizing that you're able to do these things more independently. Like you don't have to have somebody to help you do these things. You've got this. Okay, so that's where you're being grown or expanded right now. I'm sure that's going to have a positive impact on your self-confidence as well, Libras. All right, so the next thing that we have, speaking of July 19th through the 25th, talks to me about those things that you stand for. So Libras, I think that you've been in communication with somebody who has crossed over, somebody who is special to you. So this could be doing mediumship type work, or maybe you've just been talking with somebody who has crossed over, not really intending to do any mediumship type work, but they were close. You were close to them and you missed them. And so you've been communicating with them. And I think you've been keeping this a secret from somebody for a while. Maybe you've been keeping it a secret in general and just not telling people about this. I think that somebody is actually finding out that this has been going on, and they're kind of angry at you for not sharing this information before, and so they're coming at you with, why didn't you say something about this? And I think that you're saying something like, well, I didn't want you to think I was cray-cray. But you're defending yourself for holding that back, for keeping that a secret. Now, how this other people perceives you, they do see you as somebody who has gone through a period of sadness. I don't know if I want to say grief. I think I do. I think I want to say grief. They have seen you as somebody who has gone through a period of grief. And they've also see you as somebody who you have been surprisingly strong. You have surprised yourself with how strong you actually are emotionally. It's not that you didn't grieve. I do see that you grieved here, but you're also picking up the pieces and you're also moving forward. And so they see you as somebody who, yes, you've been through something really difficult, terrible, but you've also really rallied your strength and sort of pulled yourself up by the bootstraps, and you're moving forward. You are you are doing some healing emotionally. You're coming out of this a stronger person because you've had this experience and you've got the wisdom of having come out of it. And that's how this person is seeing you now. All right. Next, we're going to look at the pivotal point in the week. And this is where things sort of start to change direction a little bit for you. You guys may be moving home. It looks very likely that you're moving home, or else you're taking vacation. If you have multiple homes, you could be moving from one home to the other home. You could be renting a camper and riding around in some type of camper type home, a mobile type of home, a home with movement. Whatever's going on about this home, whether you're actually moving, whether you're riding around in a mobile version of a home, if you're living out of a camper, whatever this is, I feel like you're not very happy about this. You're not enamored by this. I think the original idea was something that was really enamoring to you, and you were very excited about it and happy about it. And I think where the rubber meets the road, now that you are out actually doing this, me kitty, say hello. If you're going to jump up on the table, you should say hello to the camera. No, say hi. Say hi, pretty girl. Okay, so anyway, I don't think you're as happy about this whole movement or being in a home that's moving thing as you were originally. Please excuse me while I get my cat back off the table. Normally she just hangs out with me while I'm working, and she's very quiet. She sort of stays in her little resting area. But obviously this time, she's pretty restless. Anyway, let's look next at what's going on as you're moving home one way or the other. Let's see. It looks like you're feeling a little bit left out as you're moving. But you're also feeling very independent, and you're feeling like you've got this. There is some kind of healing that you're doing, and I feel like this is probably emotional healing that you're doing, having to do with that whole left out feeling. So with this moving, yeah, it's hard to feel like you've got roots put down if you're on the move. If you're moving out, then this is, if you're moving into a different place, you may not feel like you're a part of that neighborhood just yet. You don't really know the neighbors all that well like you used to in your old neighborhood. But there's this element with this whole sense of moving that there's some healing going on here for you emotionally. So it could be that being in a different setting is really helping you heal in ways that you couldn't heal where you were before and at the place that you called home before. So what else is going on? You are very focused, and I think that you're very focused actually on traveling. I think a lot of you're on the move. I think a lot of you are either on vacation or else you're in vehicles that you call home, whether they're those massive diesel rigs that go down the road that, are living spaces that you park in an RV place, or whether this is, you're living out of your car. There's such a big movement of living out of cars and vans and stuff like that. Whatever your situation is, I think that you're very focused on movement. You are focusing on, there's a particular destination that you want to be, that you want to call home, and I think you're very focused on getting there during this time frame. Now, where do we see you at the end of the week, Libras? La da 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 da, la da da da. We've got kind of a mismatch going on here at the end of the week. It looks like you and somebody else have combined finances, and it looks to me like this other person has been manifesting things into their life. They've been manifesting finances or material goods into their life, and it looks like you've even though you're partnered with this person, I think that whatever you're doing to manifest finances or material goods into your life is not going so well. Maybe you're spending more than you're making, or maybe you're just having a hard time making or creating. And so it looks like when you get to the end of the week, even though you're somehow connected with somebody who is manifesting very well, it looks to me like there's a shortfall there. There's a shortfall there because you aren't both manifesting the way that you normally do. And so I think you're dealing with whatever that shortfall is as far as with finances or material goods. You're looking at, okay, well, what do we do now to fix this situation? So that's where we see you at the end of the week. All right, so there's kind of a lot happening there. Let me go ahead and we will come back and we will look at the last section of the month when I get back. Okay, Libras, we are back again one last time for your last time frame in July. This is going to cover July 26th through the 31st. So let's just finish up shuffling and then we'll see what comes up. Alrighty, let's take a peek at your environment to start off with, Libra. Ooh, look at that, look at that. Okay, so I think your environment, as we're looking at this time frame, looks like it's very healing. It may even be very mystical. There's definitely a lot of intuitiveness about it. There's a lot of spirit around you, and it's definitely something that is bringing you a lot of hope, a lot of calm, a lot of peacefulness. You guys may actually be taking some kind of vacation or rest or retreat the last week in July. Maybe you're even taking a staycation, and just having that staycation is making you feel really good. Rejuvenated, rested, relaxed, bringing you some clarity too as you're having this time to heal up and to just, I just think you're just enjoying and appreciating the moments that you have in your environment. Okay, so there's that. Yay! That's a good start to this time frame. I'm liking that. We like a good start. Now, on your subconscious mind, in your subconscious mind, okay, so on your subconscious, you are really thinking about the idea that you miss somebody and that you are letting go of some old negative feelings around this person that you miss, and you're thinking about really opening up. Are you going to be opening up to this person? Some of you, most of you will be opening up to this person and really sharing your feelings with them. Some of you, I think you're going to be opening up more along the lines of journaling or maybe even therapy, but more with the written word actually comes up here. But as far as if you're opening up in person, that's not necessarily written word, but if you're opening up, you know, not with this particular person, I feel like that is coming out in a more written or typed way. So anyway, something that you could read. And that's your subconscious mind. So this is not necessarily happening yet, as much as it's you considering, okay, you know, if I was to do this, what would that look like? What would that sound like? All right. Now, we'll see as we're going through this if it shows up as actually happening later on in the spread. But the next thing that I want to look at does talk to me about, actually, you know what, I want to do it in a little different order this time. The next thing I want to look at talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded. during the time frame from July 26th through the 31st. There is definitely some separation or detachment here from home or from somebody in the family or the tribe, but there's a lot of communication going on between you and this person. Unfortunately, I don't feel like there's a lot of change going on between you and this person. So things are staying pretty stable and the same. You know, I said unfortunately, but because normally we want that change. I'm not sure. If you're on vacation, having a lot of communication with somebody that you're separated from, you may not really be looking for change. You may be looking for stability. So that could be actually a good thing. Okay? So anyway, you are separated from somebody, and there is a lot of communication, and nothing is really changing here. Things are staying pretty stable. Stable. In some cases stagnant, but in most cases stable. All right. Next, we're going to look at learning and communication style for you Libras during this time frame from the 26th to the 31st. You are learning a lot, and I think that you're learning a lot about people and about psychology of people and energy of people. And I think that some of the stuff that you're learning can seem pretty random as you're picking it up, but I think it's all sort of coming together to create a big picture for you eventually. But as you're going about it, it's kind of learning a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, kind of piecemeal, a la carte type of information. All right, and then as far as your communication style, I do see a lot of communication. Once again, we've got written communication being featured here, definitely. But there's also verbal communication as well. And I think that there may have been a breakdown in communication between you and somebody else. I see that being healed up, and maybe that is being healed up because you're breaking the ice with the written communication. But I do see that coming into a better place than what it has been. La da 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 da. Next thing we're looking at talks to me about work. You guys know I look at work as two different things, and we're going to read work as both of those different things. Oh, this is funny. If you guys are on vacation, you're actually missing work. You're enjoying the time that you have, but you're also missing work, and I think you're kind of worried about how are other people handling your work. You may be worried about when you come back, what kind of mess are you going to be coming back to because other people just don't know how to do your thing as well as you know how to do your thing. Okay? So there is a little bit of dread, even as you're enjoying, even as you're appreciating the chance to sit back and relax. La la da da. Inner work. Your inner work really has to do with grief over somebody or over a relationship. Maybe even that, maybe the grief is the fact that you're missing this person that you're separated from while you're on vacation. That could certainly be. And yeah, and then the second thing is missing this person. So basically, inner work is learning how to cope with the idea that you're missing this person so intensely. All right, next thing that we're looking at are those things that you stand for. Let's see what we have showing up here. Okay, so you have been finding a lot of satisfaction and happiness in collaborating with other people, and you've really been enjoying it. It seems like this has been something that's been creative, that you've had to think outside the box to do. Maybe you've been collaborating as a band member or with a group of artists in a co-op, or I don't even know what. But it looks like you found a lot of satisfaction and happiness in doing this. And I think somebody is saying to you, you know, that's never going to pay you anything to do this. Why are you spending your time on it? You know, or something. They're coming at you with something that they just think it's ridiculous that you would do something that makes you so happy. And you're defending this. You're defending this action. All right. Ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. And I'm sorry for laughing. I just think it's so ridiculous when somebody just can't see the worth in happiness. You know, if it doesn't have a dollar amount attached to it, then it's worthless. Well, that's not true. That's just not true. Okay, anyway, how is this other person seeing you? They're seeing you as somebody who has kind of gone off track. They kind of feel like you've lost the plot here. And they think that what you're doing to find this happiness is because you've been sort of sulking about something. You've been, basically, to them, you've been having a pity party about something. So this thing that you're doing to find your happiness is basically an act of rebellion as far as they're concerned. And they see you as somebody who is just over emotional, that, you know, your emotions are just running away with you. Well, that's kind of sad, huh? That they have that kind of limited perspective. All I can say is I'm glad I'm not them. Maybe that was mean. Okay. Let's keep Amista from being mean to the person that has thoughts about you, and let's move on. Let's look at that pivotal point during this time frame that shows up here. This is interesting. I feel like you're doing really well, and there's somebody that is stalking you. And they're stalking you because they're looking at, maybe stalking isn't exactly the word, they are wanting to see what mistakes you make, what falls between the cracks, what it is that you miss out on. And so they're watching you like a hawk. But everything's going really well for you. Everything's moving smooth. You've got a wheel of fortune, so things are moving smoothly. You're in a really good phase where things are just moving smoothly. Like, there's no other way to say that. Things are going well for you. So they're trying to watch where things are falling between the cracks. And, I guess they're not seeing much, are they, Libras? I wonder if this is the same person that we saw before that doesn't understand the pursuit of happiness. Okay, let's look next at something else that might be going on during this time frame. Oh, goodness. Wow. I think you have something surprising happening. This person that is stalking you, at the same time that this is going on, that you're actually going through a good time. There's a person that's stalking you to see what you're going to let fall through the cracks. There's also an ex that comes back. Well, it doesn't have to be an ex, but somebody from the past. Let's say it that way. It could be an old friend. Actually, I don't think they're an old friend. No. There's more negative energy associated with them than positive. But there's somebody coming back from the past. I think you're so happy to see them. And I think it's a surprise to you when they come back from the past. When they come back from the past, they are being really open and honest with you about some of the things that they did before, some of the lies that they told you, or the illusions or the deceptions that they let you believe. Wonder why they're doing that. So at the same time that you're dealing with a stalker and somebody from your past, what else is going on? I don't think that you are letting that person from the past stay around very long. I don't think that you're keeping up any interactions with them. I don't think you're very happy to actually see them. And I think also once the stalker person makes themselves known, and trust me, they will, because they have enough, is it jealousy? This is almost like a person that used to be a friend or maybe even a lover, that now they're watching you, hoping things are going bad for you. It's almost like they're expecting you to have bad karma, because in their mind you treated them wrong, but things are going good. And so they're resentful of that. They're resentful that you're not having a hard time. Okay? And they are making themselves known. They're going to make a comment. They're going to say something to you. You're not very happy with this either. So there's two situations coming up almost simultaneously. Somebody from the past and somebody that is not from the deep past, but somebody that, you know, yeah, they're from the past too a little bit. They're expecting things to go poorly for you. They're secretly watching you. They're gonna make a comment. Because I think they're in your everyday life, even though not to the same extent that they used to be. They're going to make a comment that sort of tips you off that they're a little aggravated that things are going so well for you. So you're not happy with either one of these situations when they show up. But you are very independent and you're a very independent thinker. So I don't think that you're letting, even though you're not happy about these situations, I don't think you're letting these situations take over your mind. You're not letting yourself obsess about this stuff or even really think that much about it. I think you're feeling like these people are just kind of ridiculous in what they're expecting, or you know, what it is that they are wanting to come back from the past, or what the stalker is expecting. I think you're just seeing them as kind of ridiculous, and you're detached from this. You're not so attached to these people that their opinions really make a big difference to you anymore. And I think that you're enjoying your independence. I think you're enjoying the idea that these people's opinions and negative attitudes towards you really don't faze you at all. You're setting your own course, and it doesn't matter what they think. And you are starting something new. You're starting something completely new. That's why I don't think this old person that's coming back from the past, I don't think you're letting them stick around. I don't think you really have any use for them. And this person that has this resentment about you, I think you're not letting them really stick around either. I think once you see that they have resentment because you're not, you know, going through tough times because they think that you mistreated them, I think that you are going to be eliminating them too. And I think you're going to be finding new people to hang out with, to spend time with, people who are encouraging and who have positive energy, and that you actually enjoy their company and you don't feel like, you know, they're looking for your failings, or they're looking for, you know, to continue something from the past. And I think you're really enjoying really putting in place a new support system. I don't think this is just one person. I think this is a new support system. Of course, it's not happening overnight, but you are starting to do that during the period of July 26th to the 31st. Now, where do we see you at the end of the week? It looks to me like you are a little bit disappointed with some of the things that have shown up, namely the ex and the stalker person. By the way, I think the stalker person is the same gender as you. But these people have actually inspired you to do something different and to do something new. And where they are not changing, they're still staying the same, staying stuck in their own old perspectives and old ways of being. They are inspiring you to make some changes and to move forward in your life in a productive way. And you are starting to take some of those steps as we see you closing out the week, Libra, and actually closing out the month. So thank you guys so much for being here. That does wrap up the month. I'm glad we ended on a high note, you know, making positive changes moving forward. To me, that's a high note. I'm glad we ended on a high note. Not every sign has gotten to have that luxury. Thank you to those of you who are putting thumbs up on this video, and also to those of you who are sharing this video with other people who may find it helpful. If you haven't subscribed and you would like to have more in-depth monthly readings like this, then go ahead and subscribe. I also do live videos several times a week that are geared a little differently than this. You can check them out if you like. If not, you can wait for the monthlies to come out every month. What else? And of course, thank you to those of you who are coming to me for private readings. I do appreciate that. I do offer those either via Skype or via phone. And it is because of all of you guys' support at every level, from the thumbs ups and the shares and the subscribes to the readings, that keeps me doing what I love to do for my living. So I do appreciate all of your support. And I hope you all have a fantastic month. I'm looking forward to reading for some of you here during the month. And the rest of you, I'll see you back on the next video. Peace out.